Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to Boxing Unwrapped. It's Boxing Unwrapped. Back from the dead like Lazarus. I'm Ryan.
I'm Andrew. I thought you were going to say back from the dead like a Brexit deal.
Oh, we're very Brexit heavy on this podcast.
We do talk about Brexit a lot. I think maybe this should be like a Brexit free space from now on.
I know, totally. Just because a lot of people are probably, getting overly Brexited. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, sorry guys, sorry.
Yeah, don't worry, no more Brexit. Okay. Anyway, so. Welcome back to What the F is the Boxing News. We are done with holiday season.
No more holidays.
And we are back.
No more holidays. No more holidays. Only uninterrupted week on week on week of non-stop action.
Exactly. Which can be, it's a lot more than can be said for some of those boxing service providers out there. But, Andy, do you want to tell the good people what we've got in store for them this week?
I do. So what we'll do is we will, of course, go over what the F are the results from the last week or two, catch up on all the exciting news that's gone down, and there's a fair bit to go over. We will talk about what the F the fights are this weekend, including the absolute barnstormer that everyone's anticipating. What the F went wrong last week? Well, might not be too heavy there. There's a fair bit of random news to cover over the past fortnight. We can do a little bit of grind our gears, and in case anyone's interested, some listener corner.
Well, let's dive right in because we've got a lot to go through to what the F are the results from last week and a bit.
Is there somewhere in particular you would like to start?
Well, I think we should start with Triple G and Derevianchenko.
I feel much more comfortable with my pronunciation, Derevianchenko and Derevianchenko. Yeah. Certainly, I rewatched this with the Sky commentary, and Matthew Macklin was like a dog with a toffee trying to do the pronunciation.
Yeah, I know. Derevianchenko.
But it is quite a hard one to pronounce, to be fair. So. Well, start with your thoughts then, Ryan. What were your takeaways from this fight?
I think it goes to show that Triple G is definitely competitive at the top level of the game.
Right, it's a shocking revelation there.
But I also think there's definitely, I think there's scope to say that he was saved by the ref a little bit in round 7. I think that actually, Derevianchenko was piling on some pressure to Triple G, and the ref kind of, made it a bit easy for him. And I think that actually if the ref hadn't kind of, pulled them apart a bit more, and allowed them to kind of, fight through things, I think actually Triple G might have been in some trouble.
Interesting.
Interesting. I thought it was a good fight. I don't know why people shit all over it, actually.
I thought it was a great fight.
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was really good value for money. It was back and forward. It was very tight.
Very competitive right to the end.
Mm-hmm. But Triple G just nips it on points.
He does. Very close on points. And really, almost only the 10-8 round at the start was the difference. I mean, not quite. I think the scores were, what were they? 115, 112, 115, 112, 114, 113.
Yeah.
But certainly, you score at a 10-9. Still, he would have won, but it was very, very competitive. I felt there were parts I thought Derevianchenko almost, I know this is bold, he almost looked like he was bullying Triple G a little bit. I thought he was kind of bashing him about the ring. A little bit. I was like, well, what is going on here?
He was definitely going for it. He was there to win. He wasn't overawed by the situation. This isn't like a bad loss on his record in any way, shape, or form. No. So the question I think now is what happens in the middleweight division, because we've got this fucking bullshit Canelo thing. that no one ever asked for, but is going to bring in tons of money because it's a bit of a freak show.
Yeah, we have spoken about it. Yeah, but
we have spoken about it, and so does this mean that if Canelo's not returning to the middleweight division, he's just going to kind of keep it super middle and above? Then what happens? Do we get, I don't know, like a Golovkin Andrade? Could be a nice fight.
Yeah.
Maybe a Golovkin, a Charlo?
There's only one Charlo that fights in middleweight, right? Another Charlo doesn't fight in middleweight.
No, but, I mean, who knows?
When you're not looking, Charlo will tag in the other Charlo, and it'll be like a fresh fighter for the second. So you're like, hold on a minute, why is he bouncing around so much? It's a different Charlo, same Charlo.
It's a different Charlo. Because that could be quite a good one, actually. You've got this, like, young Charlo that's now, maybe fighting an aging Golovkin.
Do you think, for me, one of the takeaways from the fight was that Golovkin looks like a fighter a little bit in decline, albeit from a very high peak. Mm-hmm. He looks... I thought he looked at points... the last few rounds, I thought he actually recovered well, given that I thought some of the middle rounds he looked very fatigued and he was kind of taking quite a lot of punishment. So I thought he turned it around quite well given that, but I think he looks like a tired fighter.
I think he's got maybe a fight or two in him. It's whether or not he...
deal, no? How many fights has he got left in this big DAZN deal? Was it 3?
Yeah, but he could maybe do something like a freak show fight out of it. Wow. So let's say he fights someone, let's say like a Rob Brandt or a Murata.
He could easily fight one of those, yeah.
Yeah, he fights one of those. Then he does a Charlo, right? Then he comes out and he does like a freak show fight, something really silly, He fights like he goes up in weight and fights a Benavidez or a Durrell, or maybe he fights Saul Alvarez at super middle. I mean, really, I don't know, but I think he's got to do something that's a big money fight. Fuck, maybe he fights a Pacquiao.
I don't know. They're saying that Golovkin's actually always talked about how he wants to fight Pacquiao, and no, he's not. I'm joking. That's not true. But they're saying Canelo would maybe be pretty keen on the back of that performance. He's not going to be scared. I mean, if Golovkin looks a little bit like he's in decline, then maybe like that fight's easier made.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is. So, because like then they do the trilogy on DAZN, fuck tons of cash, because that would be a pay-per-view in every other territory, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Well, yeah, all the ones that aren't. Yeah.
And then if you don't have DAZN, you probably sign up to DAZN to watch that fight.
Yeah.
I
think so. I know we all love our CompuBox punch stats, but Golovkin he was slightly outthrown, but he threw 720 punches, which is still pretty high. It's not that like slow a punch count, but he was outlanded by like 50 odd punches in terms of power punches, which is interesting. It's quite a lot. You don't often talk about Golovkin being outlanding Golovkin. Derevianchenko really took the fight to him. I was really impressed with him. And I loved the way he threw combinations, and then he kind of like he did this almost Lomachenko-esque spin to the side a lot. This really like fluid movement at the end of his combination, quite like a big like step and pivot round to the side to get him completely out of punching range. I really like that. I thought it looked really, because it gives him the chance to attack again. He looked really like his movement was impressive. I thought he looked good. The other thing I took from it was that really, if you look at the fights that have occurred, you've got Golovkin, Jacobs, Canelo, Derevianchenko, and really, you've not got much than a ball hair between them all in terms of standing. It's not like there's Canelo and Golovkin and they are like streets ahead of the others. Like clearly, there's very little to pick between those four.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
And then it's a question of can any of the are there other ones there that could like get involved? For example, everyone's favorite idiot. Where's he? He's got his silly super middleweight belt, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. BGS.
I mean, like, I don't know if BGS is campaigning at super middle because he can't make middleweight anymore.
Well, surely not. He's not that big, but I don't know.
Or is he campaigning at super middle because, as we discussed before, there's a massive gulf in the super middleweight division? You know, it's real dry when you move up there.
It's barren.
It's barren. I mean, for Chris Eubank Jr. to be ranked 4th by the TBRB, you know it's bad.
It's bad.
You know it's bad.
But like, so for example, on that performance, like if Prime BGS was fighting Triple G, I think Triple G would spend a lot of time chasing shadows, honestly. I'm not saying he would get hurt like he did, like Derevianchenko hurt him, but I think he would spend a lot of time, you know, running around, not hitting anything. So, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, he needs to make himself relevant again. But we come on to that later because he features in our news.
He does.
Does Mr. BGS.
Heavy. Should we move on and briefly discuss what the fuck happened with the Clarissa Shields fight?
Yeah, I think we should because I don't know, because it's the women's fight, whether this might have gone under the radar a little bit. Clarissa Shields was supposed to be fighting to win her 17,000th belt in her 12th fight by beating Ivana Habazin for I think it's a super welter title or a light middle, if you like, one of the however nomenclature you like. But she was supposed to be fighting her. The fight did not go ahead. It was called off on the back of what happened at the weigh-in, Ryan.
Because it got silly at the weigh-in.
Someone got a little bit silly. Silly boys. Got a little bit silly.
They started beating up management.
So...
it seems, right, like that actually Clarissa Shields' brother got a bit handsy with...
Was it her brother?
It was her brother.
Ooh, that's
with
worse.
Ivana Habazin's manager.
When we say got a bit handsy, we mean he like cold cocked him
in the back of the head and sent him to fucking hospital.
Properly fucking laid him out. Apparently, it was really. I didn't realize it was her brother. I heard it was someone that was like vaguely in the entourage.
Yeah, it was her brother.
The story as it goes was that Habazin's trainer went over to observe Clarissa Shields at weigh-in, and someone took objection or said something, and then there was some heated exchange which ended up in him getting cold cocked by someone from the entourage without having... It wasn't like he had any visibility. He just got... It was like a classic sucker punch that severely hospitalised him. So the fight immediately got called off. But it's just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's just weird. I feel really bad for the guy. I mean, it sounds like it's a really actually quite a serious injury he sustained. And you think if it's her brother, then it would seem very unlikely that he's not going to go to jail for quite a long time for having done this.
I know.
I mean, I don't know exactly how it worked, but I would have thought it fairly likely that he's going to, you know, there's gonna be footage of it, isn't there? If you've not seen it already, I haven't, but I'm assuming there will be footage of this.
You'd think.
You would. And
but the good news in the women's world of boxing is Scotland's own Hannah Rankin won on the 5th, so last week. She was fighting Erin Toughhill in Flint, Michigan, under her new, she's got American management. And retained her IBO super welterweight title, and will soon be fighting for the the WBC female super welterweight title.
Nice. Very well
So
done.
well done, Hannah Rankin.
Building up a storm.
Yeah, totally.
Good.
So, shall we move on to Mr. Usyk
Now, why
fighting David Witherspoon?
Is it not Reese Witherspoon? I thought he was fighting.
Yeah, well, I mean, if no, he looked like he was fighting someone who ate a bunch of Reese's with a spoon.
Good one, right?
Oh, I'm here all week trying the beef.
You peaked. You peaked early there.
I did, yeah.
So his name is Chaz Witherspoon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Chaz Witherspoon.
Chaz Witherspoon.
Chaz Witherspoon.
Okay.
I was getting confused with the former St. Johnson player David Wotherspoon.
Are you not getting confused because you spend too much time in a Wetherspoon?
Oh, fucking hell!
I don't think our American listeners are going to get that reference. Wetherspoons is a particularly
cheap.
Should we say budget pub?
Budget pub. Budget
pub.
Yeah.
Good beers though. Good beers.
Yeah, they've got a decent selection nowadays. They do actually.
So anyway, off topic.
Yeah.
Usyk versus Witherspoon. What did you make of Usyk's heavyweight debut?
I think actually he was very fortunate that he wasn't fighting someone
alive.
Bit better. Yeah, alive. Like, I don't know, maybe it was because like he was fighting a last minute replacement and he knew he was gonna absolutely end the guy, and like he didn't feel like any pressure. Mm-hmm. But I thought he was very slow. I didn't. I thought there were points where he could have ended the fight a bit earlier and didn't. And I wasn't blown away by it. Okay, it's his first fight at heavy, and he hasn't fought in a year, so give the guy a little bit of a break. But I don't think off the back of that fight, his next fight should be the winner of Ruiz AJ, for his own sake.
Unless it's Ruiz.
Unless it's Ruiz, yeah. Unless it's Ruiz.
Yeah. He wasn't masterful. I don't know. My issue is what is his. Well, the unknowns are what is his punch resistance going to be like against these very big boys? Is it going to stand up to it? And does he carry enough weight in his shots to make a dent? And again, when he gets into the kind of the upper echelon kind of guys, does he carry enough power off? Because he seemed to not really make a huge dent in Witherspoon when he was unloading on him. Maybe he just didn't land super clean, but I don't know whether he'll look a little bit underpowered. That's my concern. I guess he might still develop and he'll bulk up. He was 15.5, I think. He weighed in at 15 stone 5, which is obviously like a stone 5 pounds over the cruiserweight limit, but it's not particularly big for a heavyweight where most of the guys float around 17, 18 stone. Even the ones that aren't that much taller than him, like Dillian White, for example, or Parker, are still... They're like 17, 18 stoners, even though they're not really much taller than him, maybe an inch or two taller. But they're obviously the big men. They're much more substantial. Just as a reference.
You've got to remember as well, though, right, that there are some cruiserweights that have managed to do well once they step up. So, David Hay did well initially. Obviously, the real deal, Evander Holyfield. Holyfield was only 6'2".
Yeah, he did. He did exceptionally well for his size. As a heavyweight, yeah. But he was one of the greatest of all time, etc.
Well, of course. But just to make sure that we've also got to think about guys like Derek Chisora's only 6'1". He's not a giant man. No. So you'd think someone. Yeah, but you'd think if maybe Usyk puts on a little bit, because he didn't look like he'd actually put on any size.
No,
that was the thing that surprised me.
He hadn't bulked up the sort of chunky way. He hadn't gone on a Ruiz type diet, had he? He was still pretty lean looking.
So I think it's interesting to see. I want to see him fight someone like a Parker, you know, before he takes on like an AJ or even a Ruiz, to be honest.
I don't know. I don't think Parker's any better than... I don't think Ruiz is any better than Parker. They're about the same.
Well, yeah, maybe about the same. Although, you know, many would say that Ruiz actually beat Parker.
Well, they would.
Many would say that.
They would.
Many would say that.
Undercard for Usyk Witherspoon was my boy Dimitri Bivol versus Lennon Castillo. Quite a highly rated fighter. Bivol's just like, is he too good? Do you think? I think he might be too good.
I really rate Bivol, actually. I really like him.
I think he's the best. I've said this before. I think he's the best in the division.
You know, I think he could probably take it by storm, actually.
I think he's going to have a problem. His problem is he's too good versus his profile, I think. So, like, he's not a big money fight. So, like, we'll come on to it later, but you've got Gvozdyk and Beterbiev fighting on Friday. Kovalev's obviously fighting Canelo next month. So those are the other ones. Then you've got who are the other best? The rest are the boy that Kovalev beat, Elider Alvarez. That's the other kind of big name one. But I think Bivol's the best of the bunch. But I don't think people are going to be clamouring to fight him. He beat Pascal, didn't he? And he beat Joe Smith Jr. Anyway. But people aren't really clamouring to fight him because he's like, people know how good he is, and he's not bringing in like the mega bucks. So he's not well known like Kovalev outside of his home country. He's not like a big name really. So, which is a shame because he's super good.
But I think that's the problem with the light heavyweight division, like as a whole. People don't realize how good it is.
I agree. It's one for the boxing fans. Not the super casuals. I mean, we're not like super hardcore nerds, I wouldn't say, but it's not for the casuals.
No.
I watched. It was on very late. I felt sorry for the people that had to make all the journey back to their homes in the surrounding area around Leeds after near enough midnight. It was when finally Warrington. What if that had gone 12 rounds? Warrington, Sofiane, Takocuht. But thankfully for the public transport network in Greater Leeds area, Warrington was on a mission.
Oh man, I mean, you know what? Like this guy Takocuht, he wasn't very good. I think was the biggest problem. But it was interesting to see Warrington back in action. He knows how to stalk a fighter. It's like he's like a shark that smells blood in the water. You know, but this was never going to be a situation where Takocuht had a chance.
No, I was impressed with Warrington's, his aggressiveness. I guess it's the way he came out like that against Frampton, didn't he? Where he was just like, he's calm under fire, so he can sit in the pocket and exchange. I think he's always or nearly always going to get the better of those exchanges, regardless of who he's in. Those kind of like toe to toe ones. But Takocuht was like one of these fighters whose career has been all about manoeuvring him into a position where he gets a shot as a voluntary defence by being in a top 15 ranking for one of the organisations, despite the fact he is in no way, shape or form one of the best 15 fighters in the division.
Not even close. Even close.
So mission accomplished for him, but he was more out of his depth than someone swimming very far from a beach.
Yeah, totally. I know. It was a mismatch. It was a mismatch.
But what can you do? I think he was one of the first ones on, but there was a young fighter on the Warrington undercard, Shabazz Massoud.
Yep.
And he looked brilliant. I don't know if he's one of these fighters like Josh Kelly type that looks brilliant in their first 5 or 10 fights, and then as soon as they come up against even mediocre opposition, they start to unravel, or whether he'll continue to look amazing. But he looked really like super classy, brilliant movement. He's a switch hitter, hands down, all the angles, all the shots. He looked really like fun to watch. And Richie Woodall was certainly saying he's worked a lot with him, and he was giving him the big one in terms of upping and bumming him up and stuff, saying how great he was. But we'll see. But he certainly is quite an entertaining, brilliant looking fighter. Good, like, makes good highlight reel sort of fighter. You know, good YouTube compilation type fighter. Looked really fun. But anyway, we'll see. Could be one to watch.
Right. Well, let's move on to our newest segment. The 6 Degrees of Danny Williams.
I forgot we do the...
Oh, man. And I have got a great one for you this week. Okay?
Right.
Now, I will not... I don't think anyone should give you any shit if you don't get it.
Right.
But I have laid it out, I think, perfectly. But for it shows a purpose. It shows some depth to it. So, I'm not going to hold you in suspense any longer. But this week, I want you to see if you can get from Mr. Nigel Benn to Danny Williams in 6 degrees.
You're not using the boy that he's about to fight, are you?
Nope. No. This is all past fighters. They're all British fighters.
Nigel fucking Benn.
Nigel Benn.
Nigel fucking Benn.
Mr. Nigel Benn, who fought at super middleweight.
Well, this is... Yeah. This is why I keep repeating his name rather than offering a first step, because I'm a bit confused.
Okay, I will give you a clue to the first step.
Okay.
The first step, he's a warrior.
Well, to be honest, I was trying to think about who I know that's fought Nigel Benn, and I don't know. I wasn't around when Nigel Benn was fighting. I barely know. I'm not a boxing historian. So Chris Eubank, obviously,
yeah,
on the basis of that. But then it's the same question that I have, but I don't know who the different people he fought are. Do I know the next fighter for sure?
Potentially, yeah. Potentially. I mean, he's quite a famous man.
It's not the boy Collins, no?
No. He retired, Mr. Chris Eubank.
Calzaghe.
No.
Did Calzaghe not retire him?
No, surprisingly not.
Fuck's sake.
He fought after Joe Calzaghe.
Can you give me a clue?
What can I give you a clue as? He was known as the Cat.
I don't know who that is. I should know who that is, shouldn't I?
So it's Carl Thompson.
Right. Okay.
So it's Nigel Benn.
Yeah.
Fights Chris Eubank.
Yeah.
Who's fought Carl Thompson, who also fought another very famous
David Hay.
Yes, indeed.
He beat David Hay, didn't he?
Yes.
That was David Hay's, like, when he got shown up when he was super young in his career. He beat David Hay.
Yes. Right.
And then David Hay didn't fight Danny Williams.
No, he didn't fight Danny Williams.
But they both fought Audley Harrison.
They did both. Yeah, you could go Audley Harrison. You could go Derek Chisora as well if you wanted. You go a number of ways.
Yeah.
So it's to show that actually this crosses all sorts of like weight divisions as well. Because we've managed to go...
That was the challenge. Because I was saying, remember before, it was like, we should definitely try and see if you can start out of the heavyweight division. And you've done it. You're nowhere near, you started at super middle, did you?
No, exactly.
So your challenge for next time is to do the same, but with more divisions apart. So middleweight or lower, you've got to start with.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, I will do my best. I'm sure it's possible.
I bet it is. And then next week, you sort of keep going until you get, like, whether it's possible to go, until you get, like, more than 6 divisions away.
More than 6 divisions away, yeah. Right. So, well, let's move on then to what the F are the fights this weekend.
Right. So we mentioned it already. Friday night, Gvozdyk versus Beterbiev. Overnight Friday night into Saturday in the States. This is the fight. All the chat I've seen on Twitter regarding this fight is all like, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
like
totally. Totally.
And I'm inclined to agree.
And this is actually, like, going to be, like, unbelievable shit. Unbelievable scenes.
Well, they're both heavy-handed, both like to brawl, both have knockout power. So I think they'll go for it. I think it's got the potential to be a proper barn burner of a fight, and it's got that whole Russian-Ukrainian rivalry. It's got like a unification thing, and Gvozdyk's the lineal champion, so the lineal championship's on the line as well. If Beterbiev can take it,
and he's an actual lineal champion. He's an actual
lineal champion because he beat everyone's least favorite pimp. So Adonis Stevenson, who I don't know, I've not heard much about his recovery, but to be honest, I'm not entirely sure I care.
No, he's not a nice man. He's not a nice man. It couldn't have happened to a bigger dickhead. Let's be honest.
If you've not listened to our episode, there is very, very good reason why we're so dismissive about the prospects of him returning to health, because of his, you could call it a checkered past, is a bit of a nonsense. It's not checkered, it's appalling. Anyway, just while we were on, I thought I'd give the odds a quick check there, Ryan. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted it to be any more exciting, the bookmakers have this is almost a 50-50. Gvozdyk a very slight favourite. This fight gets the pulses going, gets the appetites whetted. If you don't like this one, you're not a big boxing fan, because this has the potential to be fight of the year contender, although every time you say that, it's normally a very, very poor sign. But anyway, it's got to be watched.
I know. And we've got to ask the question, what channel is this on, Andy?
Well, I was going to bring this up a bit later. I do have a little bit of a point to make about this, but yeah. As of yet, it's on TBC, I think you could say.
TBC. So you might have to illegally watch this on Saturday morning. Anyway, Saturday, live from Newcastle Arena, we have the Britain's biggest wash-ups live on Sky Sports.
Now, hold on a second. So, what's the name of what's the tagline for the show? Has the show got like a tagline?
No. I think it should be like those who wash up last or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it is like a highlights reel of guys who like were good contenders, but like that didn't really work for them. You know?
Right. And now, is there not?
Is it Bad Blood? It's Bad Blood.
It's Bad Blood. That's what
Bad
it is.
Blood.
There you go. I knew there'd be one. Now, the only thing that we should say, the only person we can exclude from this is Scott Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because that boy, I'm really excited to see his fight against Cheesman. Really excited, actually. I think that is going to be... I mean, personally, I think he beats Cheesman all day long. If we see the Scott Fitzgerald that came out against Anthony Fowler, then we are we're gonna see him just destroy Cheesman. I think. Also, really interesting on this card, right? A boy, Airdrie's own Martin Bacoli.
Ah, yes.
He's fighting a Kevin Johnson.
What?
He's fighting Kevin Johnson.
Now, are you sure? Because I saw something today that said his opponent had pulled out.
Oh, that's a real shame. Because he was supposed to be fighting Mr. Kevin Johnson.
Honestly?
Yeah.
You're winding me up.
No, that's on the fight card.
Fuck off.
It's mental. Also, like women's boxing wise, very interestingly, Savannah Marshall is fighting against a girl named Ashley Curry. Savannah Marshall is trained by a Fury, Mr. Peter Fury. And
she's quite highly touted, isn't she?
She is. She's got that Fury training movement, but she does it well. Actually, she's a nice fighter to watch. Actually, so don't skip through that. Don't go like, oh, I'm gonna go get the drinks in. Like, watch that fight. I'd probably watch that fight over probably Robbie Davis Jr. versus Lewis Ritson, to be perfectly honest with you.
Interesting. No, I want to see that one. That'll be good to see.
Yeah.
I'll be watching. You were right, Ryan. Kevin Johnson is the stand-in.
Is he the stand-in? Fucking hell,
he's
man.
the last-minute stand-in. I think he just hangs about the UK and goes, "Does anyone need a boxer?"
Totally.
I'm the kingpin. His original opponent Gabriel Nguema withdrew with an injury, so Kevin Kingpin Johnson stepping into the breach.
As he always does.
As he always does. That's right. What the fuck. Anyway.
I know. So, pretty interesting weekend of boxing ahead, actually.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. Right. So, let us move on to what the F went wrong last week.
We tricked you guys. We tricked you. We didn't do an episode last week, therefore nothing went wrong last week. Gotcha.
Unless you could say, like, not doing an episode was inherently wrong.
Yeah, I think it was. I think a lot of our fans and followers would be like, guys, that was the worst mistake you've ever made.
What are you doing? Because actually, there was a big week. We need you to talk shit about it.
True story. But no, we didn't do an episode last week, so therefore nothing could have gone wrong, despite our best efforts.
So let's then move on to random news, because we have a lot to get through.
I do have quite a lot.
So where should we start? Should we start with Mr. Terence Crawford?
Yeah, would you like to tell everyone who Terence Crawford has been announced as fighting?
He's fighting the Mean Machine. And we don't actually mean... what the fuck's his name? You know, Vinnie Jones. We do not mean Vinnie Jones. Okay.
Kavaliakowskis.
I can't pronounce it, man. I cannot pronounce his name.
I don't know if I got that right. Kavaliauskas.
Kavaliauskas.
Kavalaus.
Edidugis Kavaliauskas.
I tell you what, the boys on Sky Sports are going to have a nightmare pronouncing that one.
Fuck, I know,
That's
man.
going to have them in bits if they end up covering it. So he's been named Mean Machine, or they're just using his nickname in the same way that people with complicated like Asian names get them anglicised for the purposes of UKs. You know, they're like, well, you know, if you work somewhere and 30 years ago and the person with a complicated East Asian name would be called like Dave.
Yeah, totally.
So no one had to like garble the pronunciation in a sort of mildly offensive way. And this is effectively what they've done with Terence Crawford versus Mean Machine.
Yeah.
Kavaliauskas.
So.
Anyway, he's quite good but not great. He's like a top 10, top 20 fighter, and I thoroughly expect Crawford to smash him up a little bit.
Yeah. We also didn't, because we weren't here, we didn't talk about Mr. Errol Spence. So what he decided to do, he wins against Sean Porter, And to kind of
celebrate,
he decides
he does a victory roll, right?
He does a victory roll. He decides to what he needs to do is drive his supercar as fast as he possibly can, with a number of people in it, and not wearing a seatbelt. So he actually rolled his car, flew out of it. Somehow they're saying he's expected to make a full recovery.
He's the luckiest
boy. He didn't break any bones. He got some facial injuries, but didn't break a single bone. It's unreal.
I mean,
right?
That seems if you're going fast enough to flip it and then tumble out of it multiple times. I mean, I don't know how fast you'd be going to not break any bones. To be alive in itself, I would have said was probably miraculous, and then to not break any bones. How did he manage? Did he land in a swimming pool? How did he manage that?
I think, to be honest, he's been hanging around with Nassim Ahmed far too much, Andy.
I mean, it's just
if you go to Nassim Ahmed's defensive driving school, what do you expect?
I mean, oh my goodness! It's just obviously we wish him a full recovery, but I mean, it's just spectacularly stupid. I mean, the assumption is probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't suppose he was tested, but I mean, you think he was probably a bit steaming at the time. It was middle of the night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And not wearing a seatbelt in a Ferrari. I mean, it takes a kind of particular type of stupid to do that. Really. I mean, you think you'd fly out your seat going in a corner, let alone if you crash the thing. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I mean, and he's not wearing a fucking seatbelt.
It's insane. It's insane. But anyway, I mean, if you don't want to fight Terence Crawford, you don't have to. But you don't have to go quite those lengths to avoid it.
I know. So, be interesting to see what his face looks like. Now, we talked about BJS. He's making a comeback and defending his whatever fucking super middle title he's got, the one that was handed to him, on the Logan Paul KSI undercard.
This is a better pill to swallow for him, surely. Do you think they're giving him a shit ton of cash to do this?
I think actually he'll be both getting a shit ton of cash, and this is pretty big exposure.
I suppose, yeah.
I think maybe Eddie Hearn said look, we'll put you up against the Nugget, do that really cool flashy shit that you've done in the past, and then we'll be able to market you better in the United States, because at the moment no one knows who you are.
I mean, how the fuck is this boy got? So the chap who's got the title shot against him, Marcelo Esteban Cáceres, Argentinian fighter, never previously fought outside of Argentina. 28-0 with 15 knockouts, so he's got a record that looks, like he's good. But he is not. He's not fought anyone of note in his career. This is one of these. This is this week's equivalent of Sofiane Takocuht.
Yeah. Now, from one total shit show to another, we need to talk a little bit about Tyson Fury entering the WWE.
I think it's a natural home. Sort of.
I think he's very suited there. Actually,
where if a wild animal has spent too much time being reared, they can't be properly let back out into the wild, so they have to be let into a sort of managed reserve of some description where they're kind of semi-wild but not properly. I think WWE's kind of like that.
I mean, it makes sense. How you said, you said to me, he looks like a fighter that's shot in his last fight. This is a good move for him, actually.
Yeah.
Or do you think this is actually a way of him like being able to actually have a belt that's not invented?
Because the invented belts in WWE actually have a physical manifestation, as opposed to him inventing ownership of a belt that's just a sort of a kind of, what do you call it, like a figurative thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's doing. He's like, I want a real belt. It's like, Tyson, but it's WWE, it's not real. It's like, I want a real belt. I'm doing it. I want a real belt.
I think that's the only way. I don't know. Like, maybe it's because they were like, look, your eye has taken so long to heal that we need to do something in between. I just don't get it.
I don't know. I'm not... I mean, it doesn't scream to me of someone that's incredibly determined to do all that it takes to peak in their boxing. Do you know? I mean, I know he can't spar because of his eye, but he can do everything else, can't he?
You'd think he'd be able to do some fitness.
He could do some fitness. He could go on a fairly like extreme fitness program. He could do some like super scientific cardio build up stuff, whatever. He could do anything. But I mean, he doesn't necessarily, I would say, need to like be doing WWE in Saudi. What?
I know, man. I know.
Maybe you'll get some weightlifting tips from all the WWE guys, because they're all like, is it hench? They're all hench, aren't they, Ryan?
They are hench.
They are big
They are
fuckers.
hench. They are.
The boys fighting is like about the same height as him, but like twice as wide. Fuck. He must be a man mountain. Like, he looks fucking enormous. Anyway. It's a bit ridiculous. Somehow it's a natural fit, I think, but it's sort of ridiculous as well.
It's very ridiculous. I never saw it coming, man. I never saw it coming at all.
No,
to be honest.
The thing that's so the other fight on that event is a UFC fighter fighting against a WWE fighter.
Do you think it's so that Tyson Fury can say that he fought in Saudi before Anthony Joshua?
When is it? Is it next month or?
Yeah.
I don't know. Possibly. He can't. He won't be able to like shower him with criticism about fighting in Saudi, but maybe he wasn't going to do that anyway.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he was ever going to make like a political statement. Be
like, I'm very concerned about Saudi's human rights record and about the path to reforms are too superficial and they're not embracing it seriously. The issues about freedoms. Khashoggi. Let's talk about Khashoggi.
Now, talking about Saudi just quickly, okay?
Here we are going with this.
The tickets have gone on sale for Ruiz and AJ.
Right. Okay.
Have you looked at any of the prices?
I have not.
Oh boy. Right, so category 1 tickets, right, which are like not VIP, like, so VVIP is ringside in these, and they start at 1,000 rial. Okay. Sorry, 10,000 rial, right, which is $2,000 a ticket.
Okay.
Right, that's the starting.
Okay.
But they go up to 50,000, right? Which is 50,000 is $10,000 a ticket, right? So that would be like real good ringside.
Real good ringside.
Real good ringside. So VIP 1 and 2, which is like not on the floor anymore and just up a bit, okay, is 6,000 rial, okay? So we're looking at then 1,200 quid a ticket, right? Like, when you then get up to like probably where you would, a lot of boxing fans would probably go if they weren't sitting on the floor, that kind of first good level, you're looking at 2,000 rial, okay? So you're still looking at £415 a ticket. Now, this I imagine is without booking fees, right?
Has Heron been coaching them on booking fees? They'll be like, Saudi guys, just don't make sure you don't lose out on the booking fees because you put some reals on top of those bad boys, okay?
Totally. I mean, fuck me, you've flown to Saudi, right? And then you're spending like fucking at least at least for seats that you would see something like, 500-600 quid a ticket. That is rich, man. That is rich amounts of money.
Yeah, that's heavy.
And remember, none of this is getting. There's no tax man to pay.
I mean, that's expensive, man. That is expensive. I think it'll be full. I would be very surprised if it's not full anyway.
Oh, man. Sheikhs will be shipping people in from all over to see this.
It's not going to be like the World Athletics in Qatar. They won't have to bust in the indentured workers to fill the arena. No chance. No chance. Oh, me.
So, anyway, that's that. Now, really good news, though, is that it has been announced that Lopez is fighting Comey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is exciting shit.
This is exciting shit. So, on the undercard of Crawford versus Mean Machine is the Lopez-Comey fight. So, that is going ahead. And that's in December, I think, this fight card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that makes sense, because they're going to fight, and then what? We're looking at, March, we see the winner of this go up against Loma.
Maybe.
So let's also talk about. I'm not talking about Peter Parker, but somebody got a spider bite. Oh, I know. I'm cracking.
Good one, Ryan. Well done. That was good.
I know, totally.
Big end of the show with top bats.
We were all wondering, why is Parker pulled out of this fight? Is he scared? How did he injure himself? But he was actually bitten by a really nasty spider. And so he now, for some reason, can't fight against Chisora, which is weird, actually. I mean...
Are you sure it wasn't your dog that didn't bit him?
I think it might have been. He might have gotten real angry. He's very excited this evening as well, actually.
He's very excited. I don't know if you'll be able to get the levels of the sound. This is going to test your sound editorial skills to the max. Whether you can limit Ted's involvement in the show.
I don't think I ever can. No. So he got bit, so he had to pull out of a fight. I mean, what sort of spider was it that gives you a 3-week illness? You know?
I don't know. It seems like it's so ridiculous that surely they didn't make it up. But then again, could it be like a double bluff where because you know that that's true, you then think, well, actually, we can make it. But no, I'm pretty sure it didn't get made up. But just bizarre.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Anything that happens with that guy, David Higgins, being involved, though, is fucking bizarre. That guy is mental. So.
And in terms of a replacement...
Mr. David Price. I did not see that coming. I did not see it coming.
Do we give Price a shot in this? No. Or no? Is there any way Price can win?
Derek Chisora gets bit by a spider before the fight starts.
As the fight's starting.
I think that the thing is, David Chisora has fought a lot recently.
You just called him David Chisora.
Sorry, David. Derek Chisora has fought a lot recently.
Have you been bitten by?
I have, but he's had a lot of fights. He's fresh. He was against Spilka. He was dangerous.
Oh, he's angry and powerful.
Angry and powerful, and can easily go 12 rounds. Where David Price cannot go 12 rounds of solid boxing.
He just went. Was it 10? It was his fight against Allen. Was it? No, that didn't go the distance. Did it? Got stopped.
Yeah, it got stopped.
But was that scheduled for 12?
No, I don't think it was actually.
Was it 10 or 12?
10, I think.
Yeah, Chisora can go 12. We know he can do 12.
So
Price, we don't know. Price looked comfortable against Allen, but that's because he's super limited, and he didn't put any pressure on him, and he fought. The fight was conducted at a snail's pace, so therefore, but Chisora, I don't think is going to let him dictate the pace. He's going to be up in his face. I think he might just knock him out real quick. I
think he retires David Price.
Yeah, it's not a bad shit. Oh, should we have a little
predictions
wager on it? Yeah, I'm running low on beer, so I could do with doing another
Oh!
prediction
So I'm going to say Derek Chisora knocks David Price out in the third round.
Oh, I was going to say third. I'll give Price the benefit of the doubt. I'll go Chisora knocks him out in 4.
Okay. I think that's...
Okay.
So you're not taking Pricey on this?
Price is a 3-1 shot in case anyone's interested. I think that looks short.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
I think Chisora's had something of a renaissance, even though he's been beaten. But he had 2 50-50 fights against White, and he absolutely banged at Spilka, who's no mug. I think he's knocking Price out and pretty bad. Yeah, I'll give him 4th round KO.
Cool.
I think you're right. I think the price might be too high for David after this.
Oh.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, well, Andy, with that, do you want to tell me what is grinding your gears this week?
You know what really grinds my gears?
Alexander Gvozdyk versus Artur Beterbiev, and universally on Twitter, there's been everyone saying, which is not necessarily the greatest sign because it could probably go wrong, but everyone's saying this is quite a tremendous fight, and it's got the potential to be like a brilliant fight. They're two guys that are going to trade, are power punchers. Will take one to land one. And devastating power, and it's for the belts, and it's for the lineal championship, and it's not on British fucking television. What's this all about? It's just infuriating. It's like, why would you not show this? Why would no one think that I mean, obviously, like, my assumption is that overnight stuff, people will know it's kind of like tanked. In terms of in the UK when they've shown, relatively
it's ridiculous
boxing stuff where it's not really famous names, but surely, like, why have Box Nation not picked this up? This is this is like, if they're not doing this, what are they doing? What are they doing? Like, or why don't Sky? What? I know, this is the sort of thing that if they don't have it, then really, what's the point? And why has Sky not got it? Is it because of the network it's on? It's a clash, but I mean, come on. Yeah, it's not on. It's not on. No one's showing it. No one cares. It's like, brilliant. What the fuck? So that is... It just says a lot of things are wrong. It's showing that, like, there's not enough people. It's showing that boxing still is really, really a niche sport. If you imagine, it would be the equivalent of, like a Champions League semi-final not being on TV.
Yeah, I know.
And everyone would be like, what channel is it on? Oh, it's not on. No one's showing it. What? Well, but no one would be interested. It's got, it's not got, there's no British, there's no English teams in it, so no, we're not showing it. What are you talking about? It's a Champions League semi-final. This is the exact equivalent. It shows just how niche a sport boxing is for the most part, and it's only the occasional kind of breakout moments where people start paying any attention. And when you've got this, like, as close to guaranteed a high quality, entertaining fight as could be expected between world class operators, and it's not even on TV. It's a bit depressing, to be honest. So that is what is grinding my gears this week. It's grinding them hard. Very, very disappointed about it. And universally, sometimes, which happens nicely on Twitter, like, everyone, all the comments are like, I've seen loads of people ask on Twitter, who's showing this in the UK? And the next person's like, no one. And everyone's like, what the fuck? That's fucking ridiculous. It's an outrage. But everyone's very upset about it.
I say blame Brexit.
Wouldn't it happen pre-Brexit?
No.
Very bad times. So yeah, that's what's ground my gears this week, Ryan. So would you care to tell me if there's anything in particular this week that might be grinding the old gear?
You know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah, Andy, I am going to tell you what grinds my gears this week. Oh, hold on, fuck's
Go on.
Right, I'm going to tell you what grinds my gears this week, right? And
Okay.
it's this fucking Tyson Fury WWE thing, right? It's really wound me up. Right? Because
Peto. It's okay.
I cannot understand why he's doing this. We saw, like, how poor he was in his last fight. His next fight is supposed to be against Deontay Wilder, who... Okay, he's going to be fighting an aging Ortiz, like an incredibly aging Ortiz, but still a live opponent, okay? That's still dangerous, who pushed him before. Tyson Fury needs to work on his boxing, not on his wrestling. And, like, you know, I've seen reports that he's getting paid $11.9 million for this thing with this Brock Strowman in Saudi Arabia, right?
Seriously?
Which is a lot of money. However, right, his ESPN deal was worth a reported £80 million. So, you cannot tell me that he's needing to do this for the cash. Right? He's doing this for his own, like, inflated ego thing. You know, and being a showman or whatever. It doesn't have anything to do with, like, oh yeah, well he's getting paid £11 million. Because surely £11 million means fucking nothing to him. He's like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I don't get out of bed for less than 10 million. So, you know, he's doing this because he likes to be showing off, but, you know, he should be showing off, because I actually think that, like, he's a good boxer, or has the potential to be an incredible boxer. You know, his fight, he did an incredible job against Deontay Wilder in the first fight. But I think that he's very much at risk of, like, taking his eye off the ball and getting absolutely destroyed in the next Deontay Wilder fight.
Yeah. He's not optimizing his chances of victory by entertaining this, regardless of how much time it takes up. He could be doing something more productive.
Absolutely.
Towards that.
You know, working on his nutrition,
even 6 months.
You know, working on his fitness, all sorts of stuff. And I know he's like, oh, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. I don't need to be a bodybuilder to be you know, a boxer. And I saw him come out and say, like, people are trying to make boxing too much like a science. And it's like, well, it's still an athletic thing. Do you know what I mean? So, like, there is science that is going to help. You know, at the end of the day...
That's a retarded comment for him to make. It really is. Like, if you look at the difference between, like, if you looked at, like, this... If you took... See, I know I use football a lot, but if you took, like, the top football team now and then played them against the top football team of the 1960s, they would utterly destroy them. And the difference is science. Like, the difference is, like, science and innovation and advancement.
Well, you know how that guy, Eliud Kipchoge, ran a sub 2 hour marathon? They used this thing called science to help him do it. Right? Obviously, you need to be, like, really good at running and stuff. Right? You can't just, like, you're not going to make me run a sub 2 hour marathon. But, like, someone who's already an elite marathon runner who can run marathons around, you know, 2 hours long, like, you can make him break it by implementing scientific methods, you know?
Exactly. And it's the same for any sport. If you look at the last, dependent on the sport you're looking at, but if you look at the last, whatever, 20, 30 years, there's been massive advancements in lots and lots of sport, and it's driven by, like, science and analytics and stuff. It's not driven by people going, oh, I don't like a bit of science. So the fact that he's successful is despite his attitude towards it, not because of.
No, exactly. Anyway, that's what ground my gears this week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a bit of a farce,
totally.
is it? What can you do?
Well, so guys, we are back now in action. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share. Tell us what you want us to talk about in recent episodes. And let us know if you have tried out the boxing score, the global boxing score. Because I'm going to actually try and use it this weekend for the fights and see what happens. So,
Good. Me too.
Right, well, with that in mind, guys, it is goodbye from me, Ryan.
And goodbye from me, Andrew.